I'm Summer Morris, CPA, ex-corporate accounting girl and health coach turned CEO of a multi-six-figure business while helping others build financial security, healthier habits, and a better quality of life. It wasn't that long ago I lacked the confidence, the right plan, and time to focus on growing my small but mighty business, while also having time for healthy activities I wanted to pursue away from my desk. Fast forward past many failures and lessons learned, and you'll see the healthier business and lifestyle I have today. One that changes lives while giving me more freedom than I ever thought possible. I created the Fit to Endure podcast to share simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. So if you're looking to feel better, live a healthier life without blowing your budget, start a side hustle, or train for your next race, this show will help you make an impact and achieve your goals without creating the overwhelm and burnout that makes you want to quit. You ready? Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome to episode 16. It's good to be back here with you after taking some unplanned time away from recording the podcast. Where was I? No, not some tropical holiday, but it did start on the water after walking aboard the San Francisco Belle about 5:30 a.m. on purpose on Sunday, June 9th. The San Francisco Belle is a beautiful, historic, huge ferry about 290 feet long. There's 3 full decks plus an observation deck on top of that. After being on the Belle for about an hour, it cruised around Alcatraz Island, a small island that's known for being a fort. It was a military prison and a maximum security federal penitentiary. What? So spooky. Well, in the foggy distance, when you're hovering near Alcatraz Island, in the foggy distance, you can faintly see San Francisco, California from the Belle. Then the national anthem is projected by the vintage speakers. Around 7 a.m., you hear the sound of the engine motors being turned down, which invokes this creepy, deep sound as if it's waking zombies. Over the loudspeaker, all 2,000 of us, yes, 2,000 of us, dressed like seals in wetsuits and swim caps, with lube on our necks and wax in our ears, are reminded to focus on the task at hand and start making our way down to the lower deck. As those already jumping 2 people at a time into the 55-degree super choppy water, we're told to immediately swim away from the Belle to avoid getting jumped on by those jumping in after us. Yes, that happens, where some folks will jump in to the water after being in the ferry. They'll try to recalibrate themselves. Meanwhile, those other people are trying to jump in the water, and sometimes people get jumped on. So we're told to immediately swim away from the Belle, jump in, and get the heck out of there. And as you're waiting in line, you could see the hesitation in some and feel the panic energy in others. Again, still while that creepy sound, that drone, is just resonating through the ferry. This is when that yogic breathing I find is such a valuable tool. I'm focusing on my inhales and exhales as I wait my turn for the jump. Because of the balancing of the ferry, all 2,000 people jump off within 10 minutes into what feels like a cold, salty washing machine on full bore. This is no calm lake or pristine swimming pool with clear water and a tile line at the bottom to follow, with water creatures such as fish, sea mammals like seals and leopard sharks, and other aquatic organisms. I don't worry about the water creatures. I jump in, and as soon as my head pops up from the water, I put my face back down and start my strokes, breathing to my right each time my right arm goes up and over to catch more water and bring me closer to shore. In the swim, I'm focused on the swimmers around me to avoid getting kicked in the head. Yes, that happens too. As I focus on my breathing and sighting the landmarks that will get me to the red roof the fastest. That, by the way, is what's so killer about the Escape from Alcatraz swim. I mean, beyond jumping off the ferry into this crazy water, is how the San Francisco Bay has these currents, almost like mini rivers. And you can tell yourself, over there, that red roof over there to the west, that's where I want to go. But you don't swim in that direction. I know, what? I want to get over there, but I don't swim that direction? Exactly. Because it's over the west, I need to focus on swimming south. I need to focus on all these different landmarks in San Francisco as I get closer and closer to the finish, because as I'm focusing on going south, My body's actually moving southwest because of those currents in the water. So wild. So swam toward the red's roof, focusing. Breathing. Don't get kicked. Watch out for the seals. All the fun things, all the good things. So if this sounds confusing, I get it. So I added some videos, an image of the suggested swim map, and some articles in the show notes for clarity. You can find all this good stuff at summermorris.com/16. That's summermorris.com/ and then number 16. So this was, I think, my 4th time jumping off the boat to do the Alcatraz to San Francisco swim, and my 2nd time in the triathlon doing it. So having some familiarity with nature's behavior in this water was very helpful. Once my fingertips touched the shore, I ran off the beach and down the sidewalk for about a half a mile to where the transition area is and my bike is being held. I love this part of the race. Your extremities are so cold, but your core is amped up from all the adrenaline and feelings of achievement of like, I just swam from Alcatraz. It's so killer. And so then I get to transition, I'm ditching the wetsuit, and I'm unveiling underneath it my new Castelli black and purple suit, which I just purchased from a pro triathlete a couple days before. I get my bike shoes on, my helmet clamped in, and I trot with excitement on the grass toward the transition exit. I waved to my boyfriend who's getting dialed in for his ride, and off I go. I have 18 miles of serious climbs in San Francisco to go crush now, but I'm confident about it because I did it last year when I did last year's Escape from Alcatraz race. I am ready to tackle them again. In mile 6, with young kids cheering us on from the sidewalk, the 2-lane road contained some yellow cones to discern the 2 directions of traffic, since this route is an out and back for the bicycle course. This meant the road that we are going out on now would be the same one that we would be returning on in the opposite direction. So it was important, crucial, to stay on the right side of those cones. As I'm riding toward the start of a deep, downward sloping section of the road, I see the next cone ahead coming up, and it's going to be about 2 feet to the left of my bike as I pass it. I'm coming up on this cone. Then it happens. A guy from out of nowhere, who is apparently behind me and riding in the opposite direction traffic, overshoots his load to get his bike onto the right side of the cone and runs directly into my right front tire, pushing my right front tire down as if he's flipping a pancake, sending my bike and my left shoulder slamming into the asphalt, ending my 20-mile-per-hour pace. I'm on the ground. The other cyclist is gone. The riders behind me, seeing the reality of sport, kindly ask me if I'm okay as they try to avoid running over me. My mind starts to panic, and as my right hand is cupping my left collarbone area, my body knew exactly what had happened and was bracing me for what was to come. Fortunately, a race volunteer was on the other side of the street. He quickly came to my aid, pulling me up with my right hand. He walked me over to the sidewalk, leaned my back against the exterior wall, so then he can go gather my bike from the road and call for help. Now, I'm known for being a fainter. I've been one since I was 5, and I had those pre-kindergarten shots. And it's a reason why I find breathing practices so invaluable in anxious moments. So as I prop my body against the building with road shrapnel all down my left side, my ears began to ring louder and louder and louder, and my vision became muddled with images of soft gray. The ambulance came. The volunteer had the race leader coordinate a truck to collect my bike, and off I went to the hospital. After getting cared for in an emergency room and confirmation that my left clavicle, the collarbone, was broken in a big way, I was released to my boyfriend, who, by the way, was really tricky to find because I had no iPhone on me since I was in the race, and I couldn't remember his phone number since I usually just click on his name on my phone and click mobile. I can recite my childhood phone number very easily, but the boyfriend's phone number? I don't know. I just click his face and it calls. So anyway, I remember that where he works, there's this emergency number that he and his coworkers each have someone assigned to listen to those emergency messages outside of the normal working hours. So I had the nurse Google search for the business name, call that number, and the coworker that was on call for that weekend then texted my boyfriend, said, "Hey, got a voice message from your girlfriend that she's in the hospital and this is where you can find her." So He's off to the ER, finding me. And after all the things, it's time for me to check out of the ER. So on me, I have the triathlon suit that's been cut off halfway from me, the bathing suit underneath. I have a pair of paper hospital pants. Thank you for those paper pants, by the way, hospital. And my bike helmet. So my boyfriend's wheeling me to the reception area so we could check out. And it becomes apparent to the lady that my health insurance now has an inactive status. Wait, what? Inactive? I don't understand. The health insurance has been active for years. It's paid regularly each month. I just don't understand. What is happening right now? I have no phone. I have no wallet. And somehow now my insurance says that it's not active. This is bananas. Anyway, we're told we can't leave the hospital until they receive $580 from us. And mind you, this is not Kaiser Permanente's fault. I love being a member of Kaiser Permanente. They take immense care of me. But for some reason, the people that communicate my health insurance status to them notified them that I was inactive. So for those unfamiliar with how health insurance works in the States, here's a very tiny overview. So there's no central agency governing the system. Unlike healthcare systems in most developed nations, the U.S. healthcare system is not administratively controlled by a department or agency. So access to healthcare services is selectively based on insurance coverage. Unlike the countries that have universal healthcare that is generally available to all citizens, Americans can have healthcare services only if they, 1, have health insurance through their employers, 2, are covered under a government healthcare program, 3, can afford to buy health insurance with their own private funds, 4, pay for services privately, or 5, can obtain charity or subsidized care. And insurers from a third party act as intermediaries between the financing and delivering functions. So in this case, the folks that receive the payment for my health insurance and then communicate the active or inactive status to Kaiser, that's where the hangup was. And that insurance intermediary generally does not have an incentive to be the patient's advocate on either price or quality. They're just the messenger. Because of this and other factors, the United States healthcare system is ranked as the most expensive and has the lowest quality in the world amongst other developed countries. All right, off my soapbox about the health insurance stuff. Anyway, so I don't have my phone to call the third-party intermediary that manages my health insurance payments and communicates that active and inactive status to Kaiser. I don't have my wallet because it's back at the hotel, so I can't front the $580. All I have, again, is my bathing suit, that triathlon suit that's cut off, paper hospital pants, and my helmet. Fortunately, my guy covered me for that hospital bill, so we were no longer told we couldn't leave, and off we left from the hospital. The next 4 days were incredibly painful for me, both physically with a broken collarbone and stressful as I tried to get the health insurance miscommunication resolved. During those 4 days, I met with an orthopedic surgeon that highly recommended I have surgery to install a plate and screws into my collarbone due to the severity of the break. And the surgeon said it's best to get the surgery done in the 12 days following the surgery before the body really starts to mend itself back into place, whatever that looks like. But as the health insurance went unresolved, I was left to decide, am I going to move forward with the surgery so that after it heals, I can extend my arm properly and have the ability to return to sport and feel less pain and have my body do less compensation because of this issue? Or do I pass on the surgery, allow my body to heal the best it can, and deal with whatever outcome that is? For reference, when I looked up the cost of broken collarbone repair in California for cash price out of pocket, it was $13,742. Yes, $13,742. And that doesn't include any of the prescriptions or pain pills or any of that stuff you would need after leaving the hospital. So I spoke with Kaiser and said, okay, you offered me the opportunity to override that inactive status and make it say that my status is active, so at least we can get the surgery scheduled. Let's do that. Let's get the override marked with an active status. Let's schedule surgery for the Monday, that's 8 days after the injury date. And on Thursday, 3 days before I was scheduled for surgery, the health insurance issue was resolved and my status of active health insurance was restored. Huge sigh of relief, both physically and financially. And on that Thursday, Kaiser was also able to find a local surgeon that can complete my surgery the following day. So instead of waiting for the upcoming Monday to have surgery, I was getting it done on Friday. Since having the issue with the health insurance coverage the past couple weeks, I've had some interesting conversations with friends and acquaintances about their own experiences with health insurance. Some folks right now say they don't have health insurance because their employers don't offer it. Maybe their employer's too small or they're self-employed. And they justify that I know I could pay for health insurance, but it's so expensive that I just don't see the need for it right now because I'm pretty healthy. I'm not on regular prescriptions. All my vitals are good. And I just don't see the point of it right now. Or folks that do have health insurance, let's say, with their employer, but feel like the health insurance coverage they have is so small, so low, that they want to avoid going to see the doctor at all for fear of how much it's going to actually cost them out of pocket to get what they need done if the ailment that they're feeling is a big deal. So it was just really insightful that it could be so easy for us to say, I know I should probably get health insurance, but I'm going to put it off right now because I feel good. My body feels good. I'm taking care of it. Because there's these things outside of our control that can really derail us, physically and financially without that insurance. And I understand insurance is not an inexpensive thing, especially if you're paying out of pocket. But there could be a way of maybe finding a discounted plan or something so that you have some baseline to work from. I immediately thought for myself how my initial intention last week was to discuss budgeting and how quickly something like this surgery could throw off a family's annual budget completely. And that it could be so easy for us to be on our path toward paying off debt, saving for a college education for our kids, saving for our own retirement, that paying for that much needed health insurance can be considered something we don't need to focus on right now. But I know I'm not trying to make it too much of a public service announcement, but I hope that this experience I had and how scary it was to have that feeling of, okay, you're going to have a really expensive bill here if you take care of the body the way it needs to be taken care of. If the health insurance doesn't exist, that to me, that can feel way more stressful than trying to gather the funds for health insurance or taking the time to contact health insurance options to see which one the family or your pocketbook can afford. And thinking about those race conditions, if I was like, oh, well, I don't have health insurance or it's very light, it doesn't matter, that I wasn't racing under harsh conditions. The roads were dry. I just got my bike out of the shop from its pre-race inspection that I do before each race, just to get that added confidence that things are dialed in. I slept well, I had proper nutrition and training, and I was familiar with this course since I had just completed it last year. But it was something outside of my control that resulted in me experiencing something that's actually quite common to cyclists. And I know we can't wrap ourselves in bubble wrap and protect ourselves from everything and everyone, because that's just not how life is. I do take full responsibility for putting my physical body in danger because I was in this race and I do understand the risks that are part of racing. But it was just very educational and eye-opening for me to experience that hiccup with the inactive health insurance that allowed me the opportunity to imagine what it would be like if I had no insurance at all, and how detrimental beyond the physical ailment it would be to my finances if I were to pay that out of pocket over $13,000 before you get into the other stuff to take care of yourself after that immediate surgery. So next week, I'll be continuing the conversation of budgeting that I was planning to do last week before the injury happened. But know that there will be a good section on how to budget for unforeseen circumstances and how to better plan for them. To switch gears, I'd like to share with you a list of things that have helped me during the past couple weeks of this injury, beyond the standard pain medicines that you might find helpful or someone in your life helpful if they're going through some painful moments. 1, guided meditations, including guided yoga Nidra sessions. I had the benefit of training with my yoga teacher, Rod Stryker, for many years now, including the opportunity of a 5-day Yoga Nidra teacher training. For those unfamiliar with Yoga Nidra is a meditative practice that combines yoga and guided imagery to help people reach deep consciousness. The name comes from the Sanskrit words yoga, which means union, and nidra, which means sleep. The practice is also known as yogic sleep or effortless relaxation. In the first week of the injury, the pain in my body felt so overwhelming, and I felt so powerless both from the pain, because I couldn't figure out how to relieve myself of the pain as my broken bone was shifting and the muscles around it were moving about, combined with the fear of the health insurance issue. I just felt so powerless and in deep, deep pain. The guided Yoga Nidra session helped me to focus on my breathing and focus on the healing qualities that my body was in the process of performing, and reminding me that the greater I can relax, the more healing my body can do. Now, traditionally, I like to think of Yoga Nidra as that semi-dreamy state. For example, when you're lying in bed and you're just waking up from slumber, you're not asleep anymore, but you don't feel completely awake. You're in kind of like this in-between stage. That's where Yoga Nidra is. We're not quite asleep, but we're not fully awake just yet. It's that in-between stage that invokes a great opportunity for healing. And when you typically practice Yoga Nidra with this guided relaxation, you would be laying on the floor, maybe with a pillow underneath your head or a blanket underneath your head to keep your body warm, since as your body goes into a resting state, the body temperature can go down. You might have a blanket across your body, socks on your feet to keep yourself comfortable. But because I was in such pain and I didn't feel comfortable going to the floor, even though I still needed help getting out of bed, I decided to do the Yoga Nidra sessions this first week in bed. As a bonus, by the way, in the next 7 days, I'm going to drop a special episode of the podcast here for you, which will be a recorded Yoga Nidra session that you can experience on your own as I guide you through a Yoga Nidra practice. So be sure to subscribe to this podcast so it'll be downloaded for you in the app you use for podcasts. Another item I used were Hustle Clean body wipes. Now, I received a sample of a Hustle Clean body wipe about a year ago at a fitness festival. Think of it like a big wet wipe. They're individually sealed, and they're known for removing sweat, dirt, body odor, and they kill about 99% of germs while moisturizing the skin with aloe vera and coating it with a bit of witch hazel too. I originally thought these were pretty neat to have in the gym bag, when you're finishing the gym and you're just going to rush out. You don't have time for a quick shower at the gym. You're going to rush out, maybe grab a bite, but you don't want to bring that stink with you. That's where the Hustle Clean body wipes are so awesome to have with you. But they were invaluable in this broken clavicle experience because you're not able to shower yourself on your own for the first couple weeks. Remember, you got to keep your arm down. You're in pain. You could be on pain medications that cause dizziness and fatigue and all those other not so savory side effects. And so those Hustle Clean body wipes are something that you can use or have your helper use to just kind of give you a little once over. A top and tail, is one of my older neighbors used to say when she would give herself a clean wipe from the sink with a washcloth. Another item that I found helpful was the book When Things Fall Apart, Heart Advice for Difficult Times by Pema Chödrön. Pema Chödrön's a female Buddhist monk. And in this book, which has been so lovely to have, such a beautiful experience, there's about 22 small chapters in the book. And I actually had this book on my bookshelf after purchasing it a few years ago after a big breakup. And I started reading it. I love to highlight so I know where I ended in the book. And at some point I put it on the shelf and went on with life. So I saw it soon after the injury and grabbed it. And because I wasn't able to open it with both hands, I downloaded the audio version. And so I would listen to the chapters. And as the day progressed and I could part the book in a way so that I could see the words, it was as though I was having this opportunity of somebody reading the book to me. It was just very, very beautiful experience. I'm going to read a section from page 14 of the book to you. Most of us do not take these situations as teachings, thinking of pain points, painful situations. We automatically hate them. We run away like crazy. We use all kinds of ways to escape. All addictions stem from this moment when we meet our edge and we just can't stand it. We feel we have to soften to it, pad it with something, and we become addicted to whatever it is that seems to ease the pain. Meditation is an invitation to notice when we reach our limit and to not get carried away by hope and fear. Through meditation, we're able to clearly see what's going on with our thoughts and emotions, and we can also let them go. And in the book, I was reminded that suffering is a part of life, that so often in our days of hurry, of strife, of worry, of fear, that we can try to numb ourselves, distract ourselves with things or people or substances, whatever it is that can just help us avoid whatever pain we might be feeling or experiencing in that moment. But in the book, she reminds me that suffering is a part of life and that it doesn't mean that anything's gone wrong if you're feeling those painful moments in life, and how if you allow yourself the opportunity to lean into those sharp edges, those sharp points, instead of just shielding or blocking from them, the greater opportunity you have to move through whatever the circumstance is and come out on the other side. So it's just a beautiful book. I'm still working through it. And because there's those 22 chapters, I can easily see it's going to take me through the 3 weeks of this collarbone experience. So again, the book is called When Things Fall Apart, Heart Advice for Difficult Times by Pema Chödrön. It comes in paperback and audio. I vote for both of those versions. Another cool thing that really helped me was Target. Having a Target shopper. I like to use on occasion the Target store app where you can order things from the store and then have them delivered. And what's really cool about the Target experience, I know some others do it too, but what I really love about the Target shopping experience, the online shopping, is that your personal shopper, when they're in the store, they text you and say, hey, I'm in the store if there's anything else you need, or if there's something on your list that you want them to purchase on your behalf and it's out of stock, that they kindly show you an image of the shelf and say, hey, are there any of these other ones that we can replace with what you were looking for? And by the way, do you want anything else? And so my Target shopper was so helpful in finding me a small shower stool to sit on because I was in such great pain in those first 2 weeks. I'm just exiting the first 2 weeks of the experience now. So still feeling pain, but not at that heightened level I was in week 1 and then week 2. That shower stool is so lovely to just be able to sit there and as someone else assists you in the cleaning process. The Target shopper helped find some magnesium chews for me. Magnesium is fantastic for aiding in muscle relaxation, but it's also good to help with the body's toilet elimination process, if you know what I mean, since some painkillers and massive stress can cause constipation. They also picked up some traditional Medicinals smooth move teas for additional aid in keeping the body regular from those painkillers. The Target shopper found me some tank tops, which were so helpful because since I can't move my left arm, I essentially had to step into my clothes for the first 2 weeks, almost like you're stepping into a pair of pants or some shorts. And so the Target shopper found me some tank tops that I could step into and then sling over my one right shoulder since I couldn't wear the bra and other t-shirts. Beyond the Target stuff, conversations with friends have been so nurturing these past couple weeks because I know it's easy to hole up and avoid being social with anyone. You're not feeling so great about yourself. You're not showered. You might smell. You're in pain. You're trying to figure out what's next in your life. And if you're struggling with those insurance things, that's adding extra layers of panic in your mind too. So having the conversation with friends and expressing that gratitude for them for reaching out. It's so great when people take time in their day just to check in and see how you are. Even if there's nothing physically they can do to help you, it's just nice to know that people care and that you thank them for that. I'm grateful for my loving boyfriend who's bathed my scarred and smelly body a good handful of times during this experience. I teased him the first time in between those moments where I feel like I'm going to panic from the pain that this is the first time we've showered together. It's not quite how I envisioned it to be. Definitely not one of those like steamy Hollywood scenes that you see. But, and he's like, what? Is it really? I said, yeah. So it's, just trying to lighten it up a bit that, Yeah, I was just really thankful to have someone help me in this challenging time. And just continuing on with that gratitude and finding opportunities in your life and in your schedule that as things change, because maybe you are injured or something's happened to derail your normal efforts, that there's an opportunity now of some openness or spaciousness for something else to come along. I mean, with the added time in the last couple of weeks where I wasn't spending the usual time for triathlon training, I was able to have a greater level of focus on continuing to build out my Yoga Alliance certified 200-hour teacher training program, which will be coming out later this year in an online format. The reason I'm having it completely online is I want it to be able to reach people beyond my immediate physical radius, but also a large portion of it's going to be self-guided, so you can jump in at whatever time of day or day of week works for you. And it is Yoga Alliance certified, but by having it mostly recorded, because there will be a live section, that it's so much more affordable. For example, I think my first teacher training program years ago was over $2,000. The last one I completed was maybe about $3,400, $3,500. They're a lot of money. And so this one, I'm looking at it being about $800 before you factor in a handful of books that I recommend that you purchase. So, the current one, $3,500 versus $800. I just want to get more people practicing yoga safely and feeling confident to teach others if that's what they want to do as well. So yeah, being able to have extra time to focus on building out the yoga teacher training program has been really rad. And it reminded me how invaluable meditation and especially those guided yoga nidra sessions are, and how I can't wait to include even more of those in my online membership program. So there you have it, how I escaped from Alcatraz, but got caught by the EMTs, a brief lesson on budgeting for health, which I'll expand on next week, and some of the tools I used both to reduce pain and feel a little more human in the past couple weeks. And getting back to the Escape from Alcatraz race, I just want to express my huge appreciation to all the volunteers both at that race and other races. I see how much you bring to each event that you are being a part of. And I am so grateful, and I am so excited to become a volunteer myself at a good handful of races in the near future. So thank you for what you're doing. I can't thank you enough. And I have a special thank you for Mr. Bill Burke, the race director for the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon. When he learned of my experience on the course, without me even asking, he offered me up that if I want to come back next year and escape Alcatraz, to let him know and he'll help get me in. Because you see, typically for the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon, yes, there are 2,000 people, but those 2,000 people are from all over the world. And this is a lottery system to get in. So there are many, many more people beyond the 2,000 that I was with to jump off that vessel that wanted to be part of this. So for him to say, hey, if you want to come back and do this, let me know and we'll discuss it, because I am super confident saying I cannot wait to be back on the San Francisco Bell next year and crush that course in 2025. So thank you so much for listening in today. If you found any of this helpful to you or someone you know, please like, subscribe, or forward this episode. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to discuss on the podcast, send them to me, podcast@summermorris.com. And I'll share more information about that yoga teacher training in next week's episode as well. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and we will chat soon, my friends. Bye-bye for now. Namaste. When dieting, stress, and feelings of being tired become unmanageable, try evidence-based tools to tackle weight loss, feelings of overwhelm, and fatigue in a healthier way with the Health and Weight Reset. This ebook includes a simple done-for-you eating, sleep, and stress management plan that works around your busy schedule, plus evidence-based tools, support, and accountability. You'll also get access to our membership portal for daily videos, bonus handouts, customized shopping lists, and the Ask Summer button for personalized feedback and more. Now, this program is not about counting calories or portion control. It's not about buying special potions or packaged foods. And if you're thinking, what do I get to eat? Don't worry, I got your back. You're going to find a delicious plant-powered menu in this program. And so often we know what we should be doing or should be eating, but we're not. Why? Maybe because we woke up again tired, or we were offered our favorite treats from those we love and we're not hungry and we don't want to hurt their feelings, or we find ourselves eating when we're stressed, lonely, or bored. Let's get rid of that. This reset is about learning how to sleep better, how to have more energy, and how to discover what's causing your bloating, fatigue, and inflammation so that you can overcome it and continue feeling better long after this program has ended. Learn what works for your unique body and finally reclaim your energy at summermorris.com/reset. That's summermorris.com/RESET.